Oh, what the fuck? Where'd you come from? Don't scare me like that, dude.
But oh,
Sit your ass down. Oh, I
yeah.
missed.
No, he's in the hallway.
I love dying as the old man. The
It's
old
really
man voice is
nice.
so fucking funny.
It is.
Oh, you're a dog. Okay.
No.
That's not where I meant
Why
to
did it
hit, but
spawn
that's
me all the
okay.
way over here? I guess this is where you were at.
Nice try, dogs. God, the game is so loud, but actually it's quiet.
Yeah, me,
There we go. Okay, I raised the 149. You don't have to raise your volume anymore.
Oh no, I was doing it anyway because I was a little quiet. I noticed during Lethal Company.
Gotcha. I mean, you didn't seem that quiet during Lethal Company, but
Boom, boom.
Val keeps saying that he's quiet, and I'm like, how do you have your audio levels to be high when
Yeah, I don't understand that.
playing
He
games in
sounds
low when
fine, like for us, but then when he records, like everything is quiet. It's something he's
everybody's
doing.
volume is so low?
I I can't believe the fucking dog clip. That was legendary.
Oh yeah, that shit was so stupid, but that's really funny.
It really just
That concept
racial
is really funny.
profiled you.
It just ran out of nowhere and then just fucking killed me. Like, what?
What's funny is I
Yeah,
was
it's still on the
looking
map
back.
is that I see it.
Yeah, I was looking back at it. I saw it for like a
There were
split
two of them,
second, but
or
it
three of them.
mimicked you. I forgot what it. I think it just
Yeah, it did.
laughed at you or as you, and then it just attacked you.
No, there was another one outside that was probably laughing, but it was talking as me at some point, which was really funny.
Oh, you went.
I
Did
think
you
so.
go through the? Oh, let's
I
see.
didn't go through the thing.
Oh my god, stop spinning,
This
bro.
fucking page.
Yeah, bitch.
Dumbass bitch. Who's the big meat now, motherfucker?
Also, the fucking man eater.
Someone
I
was
don't. I
doing-
don't know if you. That fucking pot.
Yeah, that. No, I don't know what was wrong with that, but yeah, that man eater was interesting.
Did you see how both Val and I dodged him?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, wow, he let you do that?
I honestly thought he was gonna kill me both times because he was
Yeah,
like right on my ass.
yeah.
But I guess it was because I was just moving in a straight line.
Maybe. I
'Cause-
think you honestly you hugged the wall a bit too much. I think you were freaking out. That somebody did catch you. Prepare.
God, and that fucking spider. Why are spiders annoying?
I don't know. I'm surprised it didn't kill you.
He hit me. I'm surprised
Yeah,
he
it definitely
didn't
hit
just
you.
double tap me though and kill me. Yeah.
I killed my first spider finally the other day, and I'm so happy
Oh, oh yeah.
for once. What? Was this always here?
No, that was an enemy drop. I'm pretty sure.
No, the fucking statue.
Oh yeah, I destroyed it though. That's funny desync.
I don't think I've ever seen that statue there before. Maybe someone else. Alright, who's hiding behind the corner this time? Is it Val?
Also, that thumper that you were like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go kill, and then I go in with you, and he's just like, well, I'm gonna chase Roy now.
Yeah, that was confusing.
I was like, what the
I just
fuck?
gave up.
He aggroed you, but chased me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this is Lethal Company.
Yeah. At least I looped him around so you could fucking hit him with the shovel, but
Did
he
you take
almost...
damage?
I think he hit me once.
Yeah, so he actually damaged me twice, and both times I was behind him,
I saw.
which is very interesting that Lethal Company does that. I love it when Lethal Company does
Yeah,
that.
yeah, the enemies... I hate the way they work. Oh, wow. Golden Epitaph. Or
Yeah.
was that in the last seed when I was a holy build?
I thought you said the Holy Ghost.
That works too. But yeah, I
Oh,
hate
wow.
that enemies do that.
Yeah, me too.
Like
It's my least favorite. It's one of my least favorite. Almost said Elden Ring, but that game too, or this game too.
yeah, they do it
The
in this
Lethal
game.
Company, where they just hit behind them. Like, no, you didn't. Because if I could barely fucking touch you
Why
from
can
the
you
front,
reach me from behind you? Like what?
why is your touch box like to hit me inside of you and behind you, but
Yeah.
also to actually hit you, it's inside of you and not like in front of you, even though your hurt box is in front of you as well.
Fuck. I forgot. How do you get this one? You come from this way?
Follow me. You just gotta go up the stairs here and then fall down to the other
Oh
side.
yeah.
Val, we don't have time for this. You know what? You can kill him.
Ow.
Aren't you coming? Oh.
Oh, I thought it would clip
Oh,
him.
man. Yeah, me too.
Oh, I didn't get that item. Fuck. Oh, well, I'll come
What
back for
item?
it.
The guy that's a rot one?
Is that what that gold item is?
Yep, it was the remembrance of a that's a rot.
Power of
Which is surprising,
shadow.
but we always get her shit first.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. Contraption does not
One thing I saw that's pretty interesting in Night Rain is that bosses can invade you.
What? I didn't see that yet.
So just imagine walking in and like a millennia just spawns on you.
Boing. That would be terrifying.
I don't like the way you heal your teammates. Like it makes sense, but it's also annoying because I can see it just killing us.
Mm.
So basically what happens is when your teammates go down, you have to lock onto them and hit them
first. Mm-hmm.
like a certain amount of times, and like the more times you die, the more times you need to hit them. I was like, it makes sense, but mechanically it sounds stupid in a game where you're constantly fighting the camera.
Yep.
Like,
But
I could,
who knows? Maybe this game is better.
I hope so, because I could see like situation where like you're fighting a boss and then it just locks onto your friend and gets you killed.
Ooh.
Oh, snip, snip. Damn, he didn't let us.
Neither of us got it.
Yeah.
He turned it to poop.
Poop.
Alright, who is this fire guy over here?
Is it a Val? Oh, it's a random soldier.
Yeah.
He punched the barrel. No, he blew. Okay, good. He was punching them like, no, you can't.
I plan for every eventuality. I plan for every eventuality. Time to kill thyself.
True.
Not the best idea. There's nothing up here, right?
No.
Fall to this side and you die. Fall to this side and however you live.
Literally. I can't believe they removed fall damage though in Night Rain. That's pretty cool.
Finally, they needed it to be removed for that type of game.
They did. For the like combat.
Absolutely needed to. There's no way you're getting this.
I will probably be a fucking tank once we play.
I'm sure there'll be like people will lab it out and be like, actually, this one's the best. I mean,
yeah, I won't be surprised if it's not the mage though.
Yeah, me too. I think it's gonna be the very first class.
Probably.
That you can select. Oh, here's the item.
I wonder if they'll have like a complete like 2 classes dedicated to like Sekiro playstyle. I think he said there is, and then also like a Bloodborne style class.
Interesting. Chat, I'm checking you now, so if you are here, you can type messages. I apologize for not seeing them before. Alright, now let's go back up and around that way, and then keep going. I guess we can jump. No, I'm just gonna walk down the stairs. Actually, I'm not even gonna jump yet. The amount of times that you have to beat in this room, though.
I know.
So annoying.
And then, like, if you go the other way, you fucking come back this way anyway. So it's just like,
yeah. Let's go down the stairs. I finished watching Dragon Ball Super.
All of it?
Yeah. I was going to wait for my friends to watch the last few episodes, and I was like, I'm going to save one episode for them. It's probably pointless to do that. Let me just watch the last one.
Yeah.
Last right now. So I did. Oh, he's not here.
Did you like Frieza bonking Jiren?
Yeah, he bonked him.
Oh,
I think both he and Goku did it, like head bonked him.
Yeah.
In the stomach.
I see you can see it well.
Fucking Jiren is just like Hulk Hogan. Like, the man got super angry with veins in his head. Just like the Gremlin man.
He was mauling. He was mauling a bit. This is garbage.
Yeah.
You always have garbage, Roger. I should just kill you.
You really should. He dies anyway. Let him die to a blade instead of death touch.
Yeah, it's probably better that way anyway.
Really? Leave the company ass attack.
This is so menacing because of how dark it is. Like, I can hardly see anything, but it looks like he's barely standing on anything.
Yeah, he's
I can
like,
target him? Oh, there we go.
I wonder if I shoot him, you think he'll fall? Nope.
The answer's no. Oh. Wait.
He's gyrating.
He's not gonna fall because he's not programmed to, so. But he can definitely hit through this wall. I'll just let you know that.
Bro, stop fucking elevating up the wall, you asshole.
He needs to get the 8 red coins, though.
True. Fuck you, Chaz.
You know who I'm surprised hasn't ever messaged me this entire time? Chaz.
Really?
Yep.
Damn.
I'm like, interesting.
Is he just busy or something?
No. Quite the opposite, I would think, considering he quit his job like weeks before I stopped, or I quit going to my friend's like server. Oh god.
Why? Wait, why'd he quit his job?
He was tired of it.
Damn.
And that's just enough said. Anything over here? You jump down there?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's the only way to go, huh? Well, not quite, but yeah. Let me
Junk.
open this. Okay.
And junk, I bet. Yep. Garbage.
Huh. Yunk, yunk, and yunk. Alright, let's go. I pressed the dodge button. Stop attacking me as soon as I fucking do something.
What was that?
T-Rex dog that we saw in the window.
Oh, you went
Remember?
up to kill him?
Yeah. I was going up first because I'm like, well, we're gonna come back down anyways.
That is true. Just gonna
I'm just
fall.
gonna jump this way. Yeah. Thank you for canceling my dodge game. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it canceled my attack. Because it was like, oh, you picked up an item.
Wait, I need to show the animation of you picking this up.
Oh, it's a Val?
No! You gonna stab him with me?
Damn.
I'll try. Oh well.
Yeah.
Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. Ansem, Truth Seeker. Ansem the Wise.
Anthem Blue Eyes.
Ansem the Wise. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. Ansem the Wise. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness.
Wait, so... Okay, where the fuck are the rest of, Ansem secret pages in Kingdom Hearts 3?
I don't know.
I got literally one, and it was like from the DLC. I'm just like, huh?
Wait, so Ansem had a report or Xehanort?
It's someone.
I would
It,
think
it just
Xehanort would have.
it just says secret report.
Oh, then it's probably Badman's. What does it say? Do you remember what they say?
I didn't really read it, but I just have secret report number 12.
Huh. Oh, good. We both just wasted one. That's
yeah,
cool.
that's amazing.
I love it when this game does bullshit like that. Also, did you feel that vibration? Oh, it's this guy, isn't it?
Yeah. Stop it, Chaz.
Oh,
Damn.
God.
Now you must die.
I don't even know how we would do that. I feel like one wrong move and we're knocked off. So I'm gonna just do this. Oof, I was pulped.
Ow. Alright, asshole.
Oh, he's almost dead. Who the fuck? Bro. Where did this ad come from, Leafball? Come on, let me. Yes! Yes! Ah!
Good.
We love it.
That's what he
Any
gets.
Items? No items. I bet if we left him, he would have knocked us off when we were climbing up the ladder from down there.
Like
I
the
have just a
last time.
strange feeling because you can see. Where haven't we gone here? Up and out maybe, or
This is the
just
way
up
out,
the
right?
ladder?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is one way. This is the courtyard, or I don't know what to call this. It's not a courtyard. It's a. I guess it is a courtyard though.
Yeah. It's the gathering place.
Gathering.
Oh, there's an elevator. That takes us to
Yeah.
which place? The one that we have unlocked already, or? the other
Yeah,
one?
it takes us to the one we have unlocked already. You want to go there?
Yeah, just so we have the shortcut.
Well, we already have the shortcut. I already tripped.
Oh,
it.
you did?
I'm pretty
Oh.
sure I did it. Let me just double check though. It should be right here. Yes. No, he was wrong. It's this
Oh,
way.
it's This way. This way.
This way. thought I tripped it, but I guess not.
Ooh, ooh, yeah. See ya. Back off.
Back off! Oh yeah, one last way. We have to go one more way. Do it. You gotta jump.
Yup.
Look, the game is telling you that you can jump here because of these weird ass shingles. Weren't you supposed to know that you can make this jump, even though you can't make this jump at any other point in time in games?
Literally. Miyazaki moment.
But yeah, players can make this jump, said Miyazaki. But no, because every other time I would think to jump, I would die. No, but players can make this jump. You're supposed to know this.
Yeah. I remember I told my friend, oh yeah, like you can't make that jump, like you just die. And he was like, the next day I'm in VC, he's like, yo, why the fuck you lied to me? I was like, what do you mean? Like you said you can't make that jump and I just did it because why the fuck not? And I lived. I was like, oh really? Oh, I learned something new.
When I'm rewarded for stupidity.
Yeah.
When I'm rewarded for self-inflicted stupidity. Like, well, I was told not to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I love it when video games do that. I hate it when video games do that. So
Yeah.
annoying. What the fuck? I couldn't get up for some reason. It was like I was too.
bitch.
What happened?
No. Yeah. I sniped the dragonfly. He is no longer an issue.
Oh wait, what? There was a dragonfly.
Yes.
Let's see what's down there. I don't see anything thick, which is good.
Plump sword.
Yeah. Jack be nimble, Jack be thick. Jack be nimble, Jack be plump sort.
Boing.
Oh, wrong way. It's a wrong road.
I saw though, like, it looks like they're gonna make a ranger class, which is pretty cool.
Interesting. Where do we go from here?
Do we just go down
This way?
I think we can just jump into there from here, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh! Oh. God.
You thought I was dead?
No, I thought I was dead because this all of a sudden this jump just made itself look like it was longer than it was. Now we're on opposite sides. Can I get to you? I think I cannot. You can get to me though, can't you?
I don't think I can.
Okay. To me, to you, to me, to you.
Oh yeah, it pushes me.
Yeah, I'm back over here. This is bad. This is bad. Okay. To me, to you, to me. To you, to me.
Damn, blow up anyone with that?
God, I love Xenoblade Chronicles. Huh?
That fucking Val somehow tanked an explosion in his face. He didn't even get hurt by it.
Nice. Nice, fucking nice. Oh, where do I go from here? Oh wait, I can scramble up this thing. I think I'll meet you at some point. Where far out though, Roy? I think I can go this way to see you, right?
There we go.
God, that's so much damage for that little fall. It looks like you're behind me? No, you're in the wall. Okay.
Yeah, I went down the tunnel.
I think that if I go around, I can meet you.
Well, I just opened the fog wall, so you can actually. Oh, flame cleanse me.
Ooh, nice. Bang. Oh, wait, there's a rat. Oh, fuck! A rat!
That's what I was thinking of immediately too.
Yeah. Nice try.
God, the video is so stupid.
It's so dumb.
I
I
love
honestly, that was one of the things I never found funny. I was just like, what is this guy doing?
I I love how retarded he looks. Just do.
He looks like such a moron. Like, what are you doing?
And then like when he kept like acting like he'll squash whatever it is. With the
Oh my
fucking
God.
tit. Oh my motherfucking tits.
Wait. The hell?
Like it's stupid, but just him being an idiot is what makes me laugh.
Yeah, but why is there a bit? Why? Even with the camera like over there.
I don't know. Maybe he like dropped his phone and he was like, "Oh, this is a good angle for a dumb video."
Maybe.
Oh my god! And then he just got stock footage of a rat.
Yep. I'm just gonna sneak past this guy. Oh, you're definitely over there, aren't you? Really? Damn it. There's no way I can get past this guy, huh?
Poor guy.
Okay.
Ah, I see.
Did you see me running? 'Cause I saw you down there.
That was a like Lethal Company moment, just running
It
from an
was.
eyeless dog.
Oh man. This is down there. We already been down here. Oh, why does that section off so far? Oh god. He's about to be your problem.
I hear him.
Because he's trying to fall down. Nice try.
When he comes down here, I'm gonna just kill him.
He fell down. Well. Oh nice, you can cancel the spell. Thanks for the help. Wait! Bless you. Oh wait.
Thank you.
That wasn't a sneeze, that was a cough. Oh hey, there's a gold item down there.
Young lion's armor.
Young lion. Young lions armor. He's no longer a problem. Alright, well.
Wait,
Now
so
what?
you came up like through the other side, like through the castle
Yeah.
gate side?
You know when I'm gonna try and like explain this to you. So you know how when you fall down, when you go around like the side of the room that we were just in together with the window with the not the eyeless dog, but the eyeless dog, where the T-Rex dog was, and there was a way to fall down.
Yeah.
You remember that room? There's a room outside of it where you can just kind of fall off. You'll take damage, but you can make the fall. And it looks like there should be a ladder there. But then when you keep going, there's an actual ladder.
Oh, interesting.
And then it leads you to that like little like fort-like area where this bear was. I'm in a great like snipers in the back. I want you to know this. This is amazing.
Die.
Look at where I am. They don't see me in COD.
Yeah.
They'll never find me. Is this the thing that you opened? Yes. I think so. I don't see any enemies in here. all the way there. I think they're down here. Yeah, you opened all this. Okay, this is where you were.
Oh.
Okay, now I
Ooh. Fucker. I
I
need
don't
to
think there's much more
teleport.
around there.
I need to teleport. Oh.
Vroom. Vroom. Oh. 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 Vroom.
Oh my god, he's really doing this, huh? Stop.
Oh.
Asshole. He was literally just hitting me once and teleporting away.
Oh my god. That lives rent free in my brain. Wait, where'd you go? Oh, you were over here, okay. Yeah, what's his name again? The mummy? I forgot his name.
Oh, the ball. Oh man, I forgot.
It starts with an M or something, or an O.
I think he's literally just called the mummy.
Hmm. No, it's something else. It's gotta be.
Ooh. He sees death. That's it.
Vow only would have Elden Ring.
Yeah.
No! What the hell?
Fucking wolf.
Oh, that was-
dude.
No, he didn't push me. I fell off my own. Oh, Chaz, where the fuck were you? And then he disappeared. What? Chaz? Oh, there. Oh, he was in the rock the whole time. I actually walked past him. I see him. I was thinking of that clip too. The no! No!
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh shit, Roy needs to give me the audio for that so I can make a soundboard out of it, because I still haven't made a soundboard.
Oh my god.
I was just thinking about it today. Oh shit.
I love
Oh.
how our Lethal Company session ended. Just Val actually died.
Yeah,
I
and then
played
me
the Marios.
following him like a moron.
I played the Mario sound. All I hear is Kay go, wait, no, no.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, wait, no, no, no. And I had to, because I died with the gun in my hand. I had to close out. I was like,
You had to close it regardless, because you two dying cost $600 and something.
I know. I
It
was like,
killed
oh,
our quota
fuck.
immediately. I was
Yeah,
like,
I was
wow.
like, no. Yeah. Oh,
Also, I
oh,
saw.
fuck
Oh
off.
my god. Okay, you're-
Banished Knight die.
Yeah.
Oh, I killed him twice. Nice.
Oh.
Shadows died twice. What the fuck? Sekiro. Shadows died twice.
But yeah, I saw what you were talking about. I saw a Steam guide saying like just buy furniture, it increases like a hidden luck stat,
Yeah.
and like
I
that
I
stat
think
determines
that's-
how high your quota goes up by, and like I guess your insurance costs.
yeah. Did you see our quota, by the way? It went up to like 21,000
Yeah,
and 2,100. I
even
was
though
like,
we
yeah,
were like, what were we at? Like
500
15.
points. It was 16. It was 1625. I'm pretty sure. Went up
Like-
way too high.
That's stupid.
I'll be waiting for you, Grace. Okay.
Wait, did
Alright.
we kill the lion enemy?
I.
I don't think we did.
It's weird because I swear we like just bodied everything in that room, but at the same time I didn't see the drop, so
You know
no
what?
idea
You
where
might...
it is.
Oh, it was a soldier.
Yeah. Well, let's go down further and just get the rest of the stuff before we go this way.
Yeah.
Let's see Doge.
Oh, big hands. Not gonna aggro.
Sorry, Chaz, but you followed me. What was your fault? What? Oh, I got hit by the worms.
Yep.
Oh. What was that? I heard something big. Step.
It's dead.
What was it?
The ogres from the DLC. Oh,
Oh.
dog.
Don't fall through the hole. Okay.
Yeah. Like the one time it happened to you.
Like the 3 times it happened, and then I aggroed him and made him mad.
Just by fucking Marioing his head.
Oh wait, we should actually talk to him because he's got better stuff now. Game really.
If he's
Nice
even
punch
still
ass.
here. He should be, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he should be. We didn't really sit at Grace, so. Oh, Rajier's rapier is up here. And it looks like an inconspicuous white item, which is so funny. Don't
Why
do
is
this,
the-
Val.
Why is the fucking whip 10,000? Damn, bro.
I don't
Fucking robbery here.
know.
Guess I'll
I
buy it
watched like a
'cause it's
little.
funny.
I watched the brief summary of Lament of Innocence, and it was like, oh yeah, well, Leon Kennedy made the vampire killer by infusing his wife's soul into the whip. And I'm like, okay, but like, why is the whip like a chain later down the line?
Yeah, isn't
Did they
it
make a new
a
one?
whip in that game?
It's just a regular old whip. Like, just, you can crack it. It's not a chain.
Yeah, I don't know why they make it a chain. I guess because Holy Cross. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just, yeah, like, it's a chain in like every other thing.
Oh fuck.
God. What the fuck? Don't run up on me. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. And of course the game targets the absolute wrong thing. Give me the item. Thank you.
I'm whipping a rock, man. That's hilarious.
Let's try it though. He's got thick
I
skin.
might keep using the whip. I never like tried a whip besides one time in PvP.
Mm.
I am now a
Trying to find
Belmont.
Yeah, when you're trying to find a spicy PvP weapon.
I mean, it did work. I was roll catching people. It's just when their fucking connection is dog shit, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Nothing matters when the connection is body. Alright, time to get the 13 items that lie on this hill, because yes, we put them here.
And you can't use the horse because fuck
Nope.
you.
Now you run across this gigantic piece of land. You're welcome. Did I miss an item? I think one's behind that thing now.
I didn't see anything. I didn't even
Is it?
see any other items.
I hear a dog? Oh, it's behind you.
Yeah,
Where did it come from?
I think it was hidden behind the golem's body.
I wouldn't know. This would be the prime area to slip and die in the rain. Oh, there's the item.
Yeah. Especially with how steep it is. Be careful, it's
Yeah.
really steep here.
Careful, it's steep here.
Nyan
steep
gets
here.
fucking shot in the back.
Yeah. That's how he died. Just like Tails. Wait. Oh, I thought you took the thing.
Wait, I beg of you.
Wait. Wait. Shit. I beg of you.
I love how Alucard just becomes Alucardo.
Genya Arikado.
Yeah. That's just
Arikado.
like, oh, okay.
I don't know where the Genya part comes from.
Maybe it's his real
That's
name
why I call
before he
him-
became Alucard? I don't know.
No. But that's why I call him an avocado, because it's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. I just sent you one clip, dude. I sent him. Okay, I sent Nine a clip of Hiei, or not even Hiei. It was just of
Damn.
Oh no, I did bring attention to Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. So
Yeah.
the clip is of the dub of Yu Yu Hakusho and how it's just really funny. And then Yusuke is saying all this shit, and then Hiei says, your insecurity annoys me to somebody as like the last clip, and I'm like, that's literally me to everyone. And then Nyan is like, very true, and then he's like, although like he says that night, he's like, very true, and then he's like, in the morning, he's like, although, are you sending that clip since you were peed through Lethal Company? And I'm like, oh my god. And I want so bad. I wanted to just post the clip again and be like, because like, this is just the irony of it. This is simply what it is. Where did you get that?
In the corner over here.
Bruh. Uchi Katana. And then I'm just like, no, lol. And then he's like, I guess you're easily fed up with everyone's BS. Lol. And I'm like, well, not easily. I just let that sit there for a minute, and I'm like, well, not easily.
Yeah.
But at some point, yeah, everyone gets annoyed with everyone they hang out with. A lot. There are a lot of edges that need smoothing out until you really click, you know? And then now he's like, I get that with people. Does that tend to happen often whenever you hang out with me? Just curious on your thoughts. I'm just like, oh my god.
It's not that deep, bro.
It's not. Alright, we don't have the thing. Shit.
Now we
Just like,
scatter.
I'm like, why is this so fucking ironic? Come on. It wasn't supposed to be like this.
Did Rue ever like sort her issue out?
I don't think so. Your insecurity is annoying me. Just the way he says it, fucking Android 17. Oh my god. It's the same voice actor.
Of course it is. Ah, yes, sliding K. Oh, it fixed itself.
Oh, good. Ah. Oh, man. Are you done yet?
What, the marionette?
Yeah. There's no other item in here, right? It's just the painting. It's just
Yeah.
the painting. You lived? What do you mean you lived?
Oh, I see.
Okay. No, you didn't live shit. Fuck out of here.
Val should play the Castlevania games that I was playing. So that I
You should at
can...
least play Symphony of the Night, like I said, that I wanted you guys to both play in the very beginning. I was like, oh yeah, you guys would enjoy this game, and you love it. And Val still hasn't played it. I'm like, this game is actually so much fun, even though I've never played it myself.
He just hates Egavanias.
Which is funny, because doesn't he like Hollow Knight?
Hollow Knight is more, dread.
Mm. Oh, I hit him twice, interesting. What about Link? I know Link likes Hollow Knight, but does he like Castlevania?
Yeah, of course he does. Fucking loves Symphony of the Night.
I see. Okay, I've seen you play.
The time before I pissed him off, like the other time, not like this time that passed. He was playing Symphony of the Night and 100%ing it.
Uh-huh.
He beat it in like 2
now.
hours. I was like, what the fuck?
Damn.
But he's just like, yeah, I played this game so many times.
I mean, yeah, he's old, so it makes sense.
Like, he even farmed for like a Chrysogrim and shit. I was like, okay, like, you just got good
Within
RNG.
2 hours? Yeah, clearly. I mean, there's no way. Ooh! Ooh! Oh shit, I forgot to go down the other way. Oh well.
I'm whipping this beat. That's what it gets.
Nice. Nice pass. I hear you down here.
Not a bird guy.
Wrong way, game.
Good. I love that this bug is back.
I mean,
You can just lock onto a dead enemy's body.
oh god, I've never been caught by this. Oh wow, I actually got out of that so quick. I got out of the command grab so quick. Jesus.
Yeah, you mash LB and RB.
I actually just mashed right button and like the right stick in A, and that was it.
Oh wow. I
I was shocked that I got out of that so quick. I was like, wow, never happened to me before. Alright. Whatever floats your boat. No. What the fuck is this pirate Yakuza game? I was just scrolling through the thumbnails, like with the, like, you know, scroll wheel or the bar, and then I just see pirate Yakuza. I'm like, what the fuck is this garbage?
It's a fucking
What is this?
isekai game of Majima. That's all it is.
God. Majima needs a game, so this is put him in pirate
That
Yakuza.
literally.
Except this is all in his head, so it's not really an isekai.
Literally though, that's literally all the game is. I mean,
Wasn't there another game like that where it was just all in one character's head? Who is it?
was it?
Makima? Or whatever his name is? I forget.
What you mean, like from
Oh!
Majima's story?
No, it wasn't like a dragon. It was, dragon something.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh, you.
but yeah.
Oh, you have a lot of health. Why?
Cool.
Whoa! Why are you so strong?
Where's he at?
It's
Oh,
a farm
fuck, wait.
of Zuloid.
Oh, where? Oh, Clan?
Bro, let me attack, bitch. There you go. Damn, you're so tanky.
I'm gonna make the shortcut though. Oh, this is the wrong one.
But yeah, you know what's funny is I knew about the Yakuza Pirate game for a while, like, because it was leaked at some point. So I just knew about it, but I just didn't care about it. I still kind of don't.
Yeah.
But the sad part is, it's literally gonna have the best gameplay out of all the Yakuza games.
God.
I was like, of
Yeah,
course a Majima game gets... First of all, they go back to a beat 'em up for his game. So no more RPG bullshit. Second of all,
Right, oh, so it was that one.
Second of all, like, he has so much like going on in his combat. Like, I was like, okay, so he gets the better combat and like new and improved combat. Why? Just because it's Majima? Like, fuck you.
Why, yes indeed.
But I don't know if I'll play it just because I tired of pirate games.
Yeah.
I played Assassin's Creed.
Games too.
True. I played Assassin's Creed 4 and that was enough for me.
Oh yeah, that game too.
It's a fucking pirate simulator with the Assassin's Creed thrown on it. And it was boring.
Okay, got it.
Oh, you didn't open this door? Well, now it's
It's
open.
funny because I was looking for it. I'm like, where's the door at? I still can't find it.
Closer.
Oh well, that's fine.
Oh, you're not gonna do the bottom?
Oh, I already did the bottom. That's why I just looped around. I was looking
Oh,
for the door. Oh my god, game.
I
Oh, I
see.
missed this part. I knew it was dropping down too far. I was like, why am I dropping down so far?
Ooh, game, you almost tried to kill me.
Da-da-da. Crap, crap.
Oh yeah, you were down here. I see all the bodies.
Yep. I should have killed everything.
I wonder, did I get the item then from you killing the what's normally the snake?
Maybe you picked it up the moment you killed something else and picked that up. Because it was just a vow.
Oh, what did he drop?
I don't even remember, but it was just some random ass skeleton. There was a furnace visage down there too. I just got another one up here.
Furnace Keeper's Note. Aspect of the Crucible Tail. What?
Hell.
Rosier's dead now. Good.
This is my girl. Oh, you already spoke to her.
The
So
fuck
did you
was-
go around where like the boss was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. I just realized something. Why is my OBS on my Kick dashboard? On it on my Twitch dashboard. Must have clicked it by accident.
Hmm.
Nothingness is eternal.
Do you ever think that Sora got dizzy from all those aerial dodges? Like where you can glide it all the way over them? All the way over to the Xehanort? Oh, there's
Yeah.
just an invisible enemy here? Why is there always an invisible enemy in this room?
Invisible enemy? What?
Yeah. There's an invisible enemy in the room where the green bird was that you killed.
Oh no, it's not invisible. It's a bug. It's locking
Okay, I
onto a
thought so.
corpse of an enemy that's dead. Yeah.
I see. But
That's
even
why I was
still, like,
complaining.
it just seems like it's disintegrated.
Run.
Did you go up the elevator here?
No, I did not.
Okay. Guess I'll wait for you. Thoughts' barrier.
Because I wasn't sure if it was the elevator that goes down, that's why.
Power of Shibriri. We definitely killed this asshole. We killed the guys in here. Perfumed oil of Rana.
Oh wait, no, I did take the elevator, yeah, because I killed all those guys.
Carrion Knight
Right.
Rana.
Unless you meant this one, but this one goes down.
Oh, I actually don't remember, but we'll see. I don't know why I said elevator, even though I didn't take a fucking elevator or see one. Oh wait, it leads to oh, that's why you said you didn't open this door. Because I was there. And you were here.
Yeah,
And you looped around that way. I see. Okay, I get it now.
we converged.
It's all coming back to me. The true. Except that was translated wrong. Well, that line still doesn't mean anything.
Which line?
It's all coming back to me. The true.
Oh,
Because the only person who would have said that is Roxas, but like,
yeah,
contextually makes
oh,
no sense for him to say it.
yeah.
Well, I mean, contextually it does make sense, but at the same time
Okay.
it doesn't.
KH3 just
I know.
pisses me off because of all the vagueness surrounded.
Huh.
surrounding everything. I mean, Kingdom Hearts was always like that, but 3 is just extremely vague.
Yep. Let's just hint at things that you don't know about clearly, and everybody's like, what?
And then we're gonna tease the next game, which is actually just another mobile game. Yay!
Except not even. Hopefully that game talks about Luke Sword and Demix.
Seriously.
They've only had no story for
Don't-
20 years. Because it's been 20 years now, by the way.
I know. And Nomura's just cock teasing like, oh yo, here's like maybe Luxord in the car with Yuzora. Like maybe it's him.
I still don't think it's him. Because that would mean that Demix is Prompto. Or whatever the fuck his name is.
Prompto.
Final Fantasy,
Right?
Final Fantasy
Yeah.
15, the guy with the pompadour.
Yeah.
Blonde hair.
Who's actually artificially made human.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yep. You go through like in one of the DLCs you play as him and he like finds out his past and gets pissed off.
I'm guessing he knew.
Yeah, he found out and he like went to the lab where he was like made and destroys it.
Genome Soldier.
Yeah. He's Sephiroth, except he didn't destroy the entire world, or at least attempt to.
Oh boy.
Come, Guardian.
Wait, was the term Genome Soldier used for Final Fantasy 15 and Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah.
Mighty.
Wow, that's funny. Mesmer the Grafted? Okay, so soon?
Oh my god.
It's you. Who is
Ooh.
for you? Oh no, he went for he went for you.
No, he went for me. They always go for me. I'm getting hit. Yep. Don't kill me? Okay,
Wow,
yeah, I
you
take
me,
those.
baby.
That normally does a lot of fucking damage. You know what, Mesmer?
Can I hit him?
I heard you don't like the cold. You know, like,
Oh shit, I couldn't even dodge in time.
let me put that to the test. I mean, he's getting humbled anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm the one. Wait, will he have his face too?
no.
No, okay.
Of all
200
that
soul
is
power.
golden,
Nice.
and one day
If only I were
we'll
ahead.
return together to our home, bathed in
Bathed
rays
in
of
rays of
gold.
What was he?
Coombs.
Was he talking about Millennia's America's homeland?
Possibly.
That's the only place that looks like that. Unless he's talking about Langdale.
Nah, it has to be where America is from.
Mm. Two-handed weapons. Enhances attack and two-handed weapons.
I wonder if that'll work with my like me dual wielding these swords. Probably not.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. Oh, interesting. The whip is a fucking regular smithing stone weapon.
Huh.
I'm gonna level it up because it's funny. I guess I can see what the remembrance has. Melania has Ash of War, Sacred Order, and Nefeli Lu Puppet. And then the other one we have, which is Rolana's, she has Ailment Talisman and Smith Script Circuit plus 25. It's the fucking Curse Blade weapon.
Right. Oh. Royal Remains Greaves. Okay, well, that was nice talking to you. There's one thing that we missed. Not sure if
Oh.
you remember. The Rampart Tower. We never went up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I never went up anyways.
Now I can't I?
I can do whatever I want, can't I, mate?
You can sell items. That's what you can do. Doge. Doge is already damaged. Interesting. Why was Doge already damaged?
Said Rampart Tower. Holy Cross.
Bing. And you can do that now with the Smith Script circuit. Oh, there was a gold item here. I'm so glad I came up. Nice.
Alright. Wait, so you said we never went up, so this way.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. You're gonna love the gold item.
I
Guess
bet
what it
it's
was?
the cannon
Nope.
junk.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I was saying you're gonna love it with sarcasm.
I just whipped Val off the edge.
Oh, you did? That's funny.
Yeah.
That's great. How do we get over there?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I forgot about the item inside the little tower here, too. Shit. Oh, I almost fell off. Is this a boy or a girl? It's like a boy.
You got the item all the way at the bottom?
The one, like, that's in the darkness.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. It was just like a smithing stone one or a ghost glove or one, some shit like that. It was a one item.
Yeah, wow.
But what I didn't get was the, you know, the way inside of, like, the little tower here?
Yeah.
I didn't fall inside of it. So I have to go back again to fall inside. I need
Elden
to show me
Ring
where it
moment.
is because I can't remember. I can't remember because it's dark, because for some reason it became daytime and it became night
Yeah.
ASAP.
I don't understand that.
What just happened? Oh, is it this item over here? I see. I see where it is. I believe I see it. I see it! Yeah, right here. I'm dead. Oh, I'm not dead. Never mind, you want to come back here for this.
I'm
Guess what
already
this
here.
was?
Junk.
But what type of junk?
Oh my god.
Butterfly junk. Oh, oh. Don't scare me like that. Oof. Almost had a heart attack.
God rate the crafty. Damn, we
Yeah.
fucking schmooved through Limgrave.
Because we actually planned out the proper route this time. Oh.
Still avoided
Now
the
I know where to
Weeping
go.
Peninsula though, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Oh well. Oh wow, and before 12 o'clock too. I'm shocked. I'm actually
Yeah.
quite shocked that we did this before 12. Or finished to do this before 12.
We're just too good at the game.
Yeah. Now we need to play Night Rain and get bodied again.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I wonder if we could play multiplayer right off the bat. I doubt it.
You can, but I also don't like the multiplayer just because it's either you play with one player or you play with 3 players. There's no in between.
Weird. That means you have to invite Link.
I haven't talked to that man in 8 months. Ain't no way
I
I'm
know.
doing it now.
Yeah. But we're not going to be able to play with Val.
I don't know. Val seemed like he was interested in Night Rain.
Oh, really? Val, is this true? I know you're lurking here somewhere.
Yeah, it's funny because he just came in my chat. He said, "No and bad and gay and cock and suck balls and X face," and he's gay.
That's great.
LMAO the timing.
Yeah, I can sense whenever you're around.
Also, I was spoiled for the final boss, and I'm very disappointed.
Oh,
Extremely
really? What?
disappointed, actually.
How are you spoiled? Wait, what? So quickly?
The guy shows it in the video,
Why would he do that?
and yeah,
See ya.
I was like, really?
Why would he do that? I'm glad I stopped
Oh.
watching then.
It's all the way at the end, so
Even still, what the fuck is... Like, the game isn't even out yet, dude. Oh yeah, then I had trouble on, like, Dark Ronnie, the boss. And, you know, it was so hard.
yeah, get R2, bitch.
Like, oh my gosh.
Oops. Well,
Like,
I didn't mean to use
friend
that.
didn't even come out yet. Well, I guess there's nothing else here.
Why does this go so low?
There's
Oh,
nothing
because
else.
this is the way around, isn't it?
Yeah. I just wanted to see if there are any items.
Can I blow up the pot? Damn, he's not an exploding
dead.
one.
Yes!
I'm dead. That was such a
You
Lethal
died?
Company thing. No. I was just memeing.
Oh, good. Wait, why'd you say that's it? Clap. Val, oh my god, I'm sure Val saw that. Oh my
yes.
god. Oh
See,
my god. That's so lame
Val-
how I died.
Val said, yeah, he would play Night Rain.
Oh, yay. Good. So, Roy, I actually just evaded death.
I know.
I don't know how the fuck I did that. Is that why you said it was a Lethal Company-like thing? Because I immediately closed out.
Yeah.
I was like, shit. I'm surprised that I was able to navigate, like, for so long. Did he drop anything?
Nope.
Of course. Oh, let's continue on.
At least not for me. But I think his corpse also fell down with you.
Yeah. Which is stupid as fuck, because why?
Ah, yes, it's Val.
Wow.
Back to learn another.
And now he's floating.
Ah.
You've taken where that is, so fellows. We followed her at San
Wait, Val, why did you say that's it?
The illustrious
Oh, Riku? That's it.
herself without
That's
you
it.
never-
Oh. Oh, Sasori, my man, you are actually cracked this run.
Finally. What was that noise? Yeah. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'm so dead. Not today. What?
He can't keep getting away with this, Val.
I can. You want to know why? Because the game says I'm going to kill you one way or another. If I can't kill you by making you forcefully drop, I'm going to kill you by making you void out into a wall. What?
What?
Why is this still happening? Why can this still happen in this game? And I figured it out.
It's because Val's watching.
What does man have?
Oh, you'll see.
Oh, good. He's not even... He's fucking L. He's not Val. He's L. He's just squatting on the thing he's saying. He's supposed to be saying.
He was Val before because he was laying in the chair, like.
Oh, I see.
But then I talked to him and he became L.
That's funny. I already have Ronaldo's full moon.
Oh yeah, right, because we got it early.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Back to learn another.
Stars of Root.
Alright. You can... Val posted the clip. In the chat. You can see it.
Oh, did I already loot this item? Oh, I didn't get this one across though.
You can see my devious escape. Twice. Well, maybe not twice, but
Oh,
just
gold
once.
item. Vortex of putrescence. Oh my gosh.
Oh. Well, I mean, something. They want me to become a mage, an arcane
Yeah.
mage, which would be interesting.
And they
Because
want
that
me
means I
to,
can use the bubble spell.
they want me to become a heavy so bad.
Which is funny, because I'm leveling up my strength now.
Let me see this clip.
Nice.
Of course, it doesn't play in Discord for whatever reason.
Yep, it has to open somewhere else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, how did I have so much time to do that?
I thought you would hit a fucking void out barrier by that.
No.
Wow. That's funny.
Oof. That was close. It was a close shave.
Embrace.
Nothing. Delightfully devilish Seymour. Yes. Well, where to next? Like, I don't know where else to go.
Yeah, now we're at the lake.
The Laque. I guess we can go back. Oh no. Let's not go back to the DLC.
We'll still get pieced up, maybe.
Yeah, like. Oh, you want a challenge? Go to the DLC. You want it easy? Just go for it. That's all that was.
The subtitle thing you added is so dumb. Subtitle thing? What subtitle thing?
I think Twitch added that on their own.
Captions? I don't have captions on. Maybe Twitch did add that. I don't fucking know. Oh, I see this. Captions. Experimental. How the fuck does this work?
Do you want to come to the round table hold with me for a sec?
Oh, to bully?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder, Val. It says its provider is Microsoft Speech to Text. So, Microsoft can never do anything right.
And so it is. D actually has something cracked once.
Does he? Let me see. Oh. I mean, the shield will be good for Rodon if I ever need to go that route.
Yeah.
None of what's written is actually what you say. It's so funny. You know what's funny?
Uh-oh.
I saw that, like, I think when I was exporting a video or a VOD to YouTube, it gives, like, the captions to YouTube as well, and I was just like, what
weird.
the fuck is this? Because
Weird
it,
metadata.
yeah, it was nothing of what I was saying.
Huh.
I guess
Isn't there another item
according
down here?
to Microsoft, I'm just not speaking English.
I'd us all like the ethical owls exporting a video of one gone to you. I'm guessing to you is supposed to be YouTube. Yeah.
I burned him with the torch.
Nice. He was trying to do that himself and then he died.
Yeah.
What a fool. What a fool.
You fool, you
It-
fool.
Val, you know what that reminds me of? That text? It is I who nuts to that. That's what that reminds me of.
What the fuck? Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
what the hell?
That is not
True.
English.
It is not. The
Oh, no.
folly of old. Who the fuck said that?
You again. I thought you'd receive the Felly Lou. I'm glad to see I found
The
it some good
Felly.
you defeated. Make good use. I don't
Oh,
intend.
thank you.
Finally.
Thank you. Val, play Castlevania.
Ooh.
What do you mean a house guest?
Then you would do stand before if those words. Follow the guide and do so, and you.
Wait, what?
Once
Was Alucard say that?
sees none.
Oh no, I was saying that to Gideon.
Oh, huh.
But yeah, Val. I should tarnish. Yeah, I want you to play Portrait of Ruin, so you can also go Scarlet Jonathan.
Jonathan,
Or Charlotte. Yeah.
Jonathan,
Jonathan
Charlotte,
Charlotte.
Jonathan, Charlotte.
Yeah. And then be like, wow, this game is so hard, and then I'll pull the duck out because only I know the secret to make it piss easy.
It's fucking Telegram duck. Telegram's got some really weird emotes, by the way.
Oh,
I'm not
they
sure
do.
if you've seen like a pink dog recently.
A pink
that was
dog?
a freak. This dog was a freak. Like, what the fuck? Who made that shit? It was terrible. That's Link, he says. The folly of old.
I hate it. The fucking dog. You know you love it, Val.
I'm surprised you hate the duck. The fact that you want to go down to Soifa River.
Yeah, sure.
This is totally not a plot to make you get the items that you missed over here. But also, there's a graveyard over here, so let's go there first.
Let me strengthen the vampire killer.
Give me strength. Alright, are my weapons? Yeah, my weapons are fully maxed out. They're all maxed out.
There we go. 24.
I've been baby yet again. Die.
Where'd you work to? The Mistwoods?
Yeah. Oh wait, I already got these items.
Vampire. Vampire.
Wait, once we kill Godric, aren't we supposed to come back to the fort and talk to the guy or something? Or are we supposed to talk to him before he goes back to the fort?
I forgot, like, the weird timing of when you're supposed to talk to him.
Oh.
Look at Val trying to use his new spells.
The fire one?
No, he was just shooting pebbles at me.
His new spell. The buyout of 2222. What? I'm laughing so hard it's never the right sentence. Who the fuck said 2 that many times?
No one.
Or was it 2,222 that it heard? I have no clue.
I should turn it off so that Val can just not be happy. Ultimate hate.
Anger and hate are supreme.
Alright, the dagger that's over here. Where's the chest? There it is.
Oh look, there's a thing.
Wait, it's not? Oh, is it down?
What?
Why'd the bear die
yeah,
like that?
no.
That's hilarious.
Oh, I never got this. Oof. I never got the item that was supposed to be the crystal tears. Yikes. That's bad. Thank you for opening up. We appreciate you.
Val when he's
But Atty, also that Duncan just not be happy to. I should turn it off so Val shouldn't be happy.
There we go. That's Val when he sleeps.
What the hell? I don't know. I don't even know what the thing is supposed to be saying. What? Like, what is it? What is it translating? Legitimately,
Don't know. I wish I could give it a different provider.
Val showed me what it's translating, but like, how does that match up?
Is it translating it to French for him or something? I don't know.
That can't be right.
Oh yeah, I didn't grab these either. Oh. No, it's just bad for no reason. I mean, yeah. It doesn't exist now. Sad
Hey, Roy.
Pepe. Here, I'll turn it.
Remember when I walked in here and died?
Yeah.
Elden Ring key moments.
Can't believe Val sucks balls.
Alright, let's try to get all these things lit and then fight the boss as quick as we can.
Grass balls.
I was just about to say the crotch grab. The mutual crotch grab. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. Guess I'll do Dex. Firmly grasp it.
Firmly
grasp it. It fucking slams it through his hand. That's fucking you when Bao annoys you with Kingdom Hearts bullshit.
Yeah, I'll be like, back up, 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 up. The fact that what is it? two in the bell socks molds. What? Ansem doesn't exist as well.
He does.
Now wake up. Ansem exists.
You
Oh my
fought
god,
him.
why is this guy here?
There's a lot of them. Oh my, I'm
Why is he here?
Oh, I didn't notice the fucking dickhead. That would explain why I was getting hit with lightning.
Well, the Farmazuloid is here too.
Oh.
But they're the same. They're from the same place anyway, so it doesn't matter. Oh my god. Oh my god! I can't get out of the corner.
Oh my god.
I'm dead. Get me out of here! Oh my god, am I alive? Usually when you're trapped in a corner like that in this game, that's the corner of death. I was shocked. I got the fuck out of there. There's no way. Oh my god. Yeah, let's get this shit as fast as we can. Blessing America, really.
Wait, isn't there an item down here behind the statue? Oh no.
Be careful, because I'm leading all this stuff up here, and I just want you to know that's close to you.
Okay, yep, I go the other way.
Bro! No way! I only have one flask kill left.
Now, it's experimental.
How am I still getting
you know?
it?
That's why, Kappa.
He lived.
Can't believe Elden Ring is a thing again. No, it will always be a thing. Elden Ring will never.
For as
not
long as you don't play with us.
Yeah.
But I mean, once we get Night Rain, we probably won't play this game anymore because It's like it's what we're doing here is just that, anyways. So
True.
are you behind me? Okay. I wasn't sure if you were behind me or not. Oh, thank God I got some refills on my glass. Jesus. No! Oh my God, I hate the horse so much.
Now you gotta do it.
Did you get the item?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Val, Elden Ring
How
will
do you-
keep happening for every day that you don't play Bloodstained.
Actually, though. Because we can do randomizers of that together, but instead, you don't want to, so we're just gonna do Elden. Why is this guy up here?
Okay, fine, Mazuli. Die.
Die! We can get bloodstained.
Where'd the tree sentinel go? Did you kill him?
I didn't kill him. He's hanging out in the back where you can't see him.
Speaking of him,
What, did you see him in the back?
no, he fucking aggroed me. Oh my god, he's gonna kill me.
I'm gonna kill him first. Why did he run after me? You cock.
Oh my god, he has so much health.
I know.
Is this the DLC
What's the
one?
golem doing? Oh, maybe. Who is... Why? Why?
Oh, yeah, fuck.
Oh, I'm so dead then. Oh, they all have too much HP.
Yeah, what the
Get
fuck
me outta here.
is the scaling here? This is DLC.
What? There's no
Good,
way.
that's what you get? Fuck you. Oh, did you also die or you
No.
lived?
I lived, but like, for how long? I don't know. Please get away from me. Oh my god.
Only
I
died.
missed the gold item on the stairs.
Oh fuck! I think I grabbed that already though.
I didn't. Hang on a second. I might touch this grace to save you.
Why are you here though? Why?
Because he followed me.
Yeah, I definitely got that. Oh no!
Wait, do you need me to touch the thing?
Yes.
You need to send it down? Okay, I'll send it down as fast as possible.
Look at this motherfucker just spamming fireballs.
Kay always has an escape cheat.
Oh my god. You really?
Oh, Godfrey icon.
Really? Like, you killed me through the wall?
No.
Oh
Didn't
my
it just come down
God.
to? Oh my god.
Oh
This
my
is complete
god.
nonsense. You know they're gonna have a lot of runes too. That's a crazy thing.
I doubt it.
I think so, because all the enemies up until now have been trash. Like, they've just been really easy to kill. Though that one golem in Stormville had 5,000. Or not golem, but the troll.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. It's by the entrance. Oh right, I forgot to get the stuff by the entrance of Stormville. I'll remember next time.
Fucking
won't.
on his horse. He's fucking golden.
I always have an escape cheat. Absolutely false. Doesn't he watch these things? You would know. You would know that I always get fucking bodied by the enemies in this game. And Roy lives. It is like 0.1% only ever the opposite.
That only happened because the golem was in the wall, hitting me
Yeah,
at the
that's
exact same time as the tree sentinel camping the doorway,
Dude,
shooting
tree sentinel-
fireballs.
the tree sentinel shot electricity through the wall at me.
Oh my god.
And it knocked me out of the room. I was like, what? It knocked me forward out of the room so he can combo me. And the grafted Shion could attack me.
Why is there always nonsense here?
Or Scion. I think it's wrapped at Scion, right? Not Scion.
Yeah.
Why is... Oh, I was like, why is my game crashing? You just touched Grace.
Yeah.
Thank God you touched Grace, because I was in a really bad spot.
Wait, so Val, you
Alright, what
finished
do you guys
Recoded
want?
already? I'm guessing.
Sure, he says. Oh yeah, how is it?
Oh?
How is Recoded?
Damn, I thought
Huh?
you would have finished it already.
Oh. No, I didn't see him on the game at all today. I would know because I was playing Stardew Valley all day with my friend.
The Mountain Dew.
Yeah, that's the joke my friend made the other day.
Yeah.
Stardew Valley God. Kind of. You know what game I'm honestly thinking about playing?
Oh no. Power.
Unironically? No.
Okay.
More gay than that.
More gay than that? Damn.
Yeah.
You got me.
Really? Just take a wild guess.
Well, it's a multiplayer game, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be a multiplayer game.
Hmm.
It's a kind of like a farming, well, not really farming. I wouldn't say farming, but it's like
Is
Animal
it?
Crossing-esque. I'll say that.
Oh, is it that Animal Crossing like clone game that came out a while back?
Which one?
I forgot the name. But it was like the
No.
more recent one, because I know there was another one that came out that was kind of mid.
No. Val said Harvest Moon. No, Harvest Moon isn't even gay. Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Oh! Yeah.
Legit. Vinny got a copy from a chat member, so he's like, I guess I'll play the game then. And then, like, as he's playing the game, he's like, oh yeah, something something when I come back to it. And then he's like, you know what? I actually might come back to this game. I play the game. I'm like, holy shit. Because I was liking the gameplay loop a lot. I was like, huh, this is actually pretty fun looking.
I mean,
And then,
what I know,
yeah,
Hello
Vinny.
Kitty Island Adventure always had a good loop. So much so that
Yes.
in the World of Warcraft episode of South Park, they kept bringing it up.
What the fuck? I've heard about it, but I didn't see the gameplay, says Val. It's almost Animal Crossing. I say almost Animal Crossing because it's Animal Crossing but different. Like it's the whole friendship thing is more like Stardew Valley, but not really. It's just like it's not the same 2 bits of dialogue over and over again. And you got more so quests rather than like just do anything in the sandbox world. But you can still like come back to different spots and do stuff, which is pretty cool. Is this a Queen Rot night?
Gold
Oh
item?
god, it's you.
Oh, Rolana's Twin Blades.
They just love handing me shit today, it seems.
Sadly, it's not plus 10, but still. It's your favorite weapon.
Booty it up.
Sweeble. I want, AP to get Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. Because that was actually a fun. Like, it's a basic Igavania, but it's fun.
Which one is that one again that you play as?
Juice. Juice.
Juice.
I don't even know how you fucking say his name still.
Just Belmont.
Yeah.
Well, Val would know because it's a French name. Ah! The moment I say Val, the fucking Val enemy just goes. Ah!
That's what you get,
Nice, on
Burger
fire.
King.
I like that one of the rarest achievement is Hello Bessie become best friends with Hello Kitty. That's funny. Yeah, watch Vinny play the game. Actually, it was pretty fun to watch. I was like, Vinny, are you enjoying the game? I honestly might consider buying it. and he didn't see my message, but he was like kind of deep in the game, which is really funny.
Wow. Bites us. He bites us.
But it seems like a kind of short game. Like it seems like it doesn't last for too long, but I don't know. Like it's kind of like Majin Buu, Fat Majin Buu, where they were like, I can't tell how deep his energy goes.
Yeah. Oh
But
my
like
God.
he's so you can underestimate him like on the surface.
Chat kind of, I mean, shot kind of mid.
Deep Cut? Deep Cut is a Splatoon group.
Deep?
The shop was mid.
Yeah.
Deep Throat? Just call me Deep Throat. Deep Throat.
Yeah, it seems
Me
like
like
they're,
him. I
they're
like the one
bringing
against
him back to voice Snake for the remake.
I wouldn't see why not, unless he just wasn't the voice of Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5.
He was not.
That makes sense. I was like, why would voice say that? I'm like, obviously, that's the only voice of Snake there is. I didn't know. And I was like, in my head, the same vein, I was like, wait, the only reason he would say that is if in Metal Gear Solid 5 they changed things, but they hate that game. Like, everybody hates that game.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I was like, I'll ask him later.
Yep. I forgot who
Makes sense.
voices him. It's another famous voice actor, but
I'm
it
guessing because
wasn't.
it's just Big Boss.
Yeah. Oh, here's another.
Big Boss.
But yeah,
Did we get them all?
Nope. They showed a new like trailer for MGS3 remake. Looks cool, but I won't play it. I'll just watch cutscenes.
Yeah. I'll watch Vinny play it. Because Vinny's definitely gonna play it. Vinny's got some real fun streams in that game.
They didn't show Ocelot doing revolver Ocelot things though.
Like spinning the gun
Yeah.
for 15 minutes around his finger.
Fucking dumbass cutscene. Like, you can tell that that game was made like early 2000s just because of
And then
that.
Wait, like there's a camera panning like vroom,
Yes.
like whoosh when he's doing it. Oh my
Yes.
god.
And then the
I
fucking
love
gun
Metal Gear
making
Solid
like
so
the
much.
sound effects like
It's so stupid. Did he stream it today? I can't see the bottom full sauce. He streamed it last night, so yeah. Johnny might be taking a break or something, so that's probably why you can't see it. I hate that you can't see the VOD though on Twitch immediately. I wish he would change that, but I understand why he can't.
yeah. Probably does it just so it's easier if like something is on screen, you can just immediately just
Yeah.
end the stream and there's no
Cut it out.
lag. Oh damn, I touched Grace. Didn't realize
okay.
you activated it.
Yeah, me neither. It looked like it was unactivated, or it looked like it was
Yeah.
activated already. So I touched it, and then Death Knight helm. Really interesting. So,
Drip.
yeah. Would you like to look cool in the DLC cutscenes?
Death Knight
Wow.
is a cool enemy, like just their moveset and shit.
Bob
but
DeWitt, such grace they realize you to activate it.
you're kind of mid to who you Val.
Now it's some ICS experimental.
wait.
You know that
What
solar
do you-
temple. What?
What were you asking the who Val? Was it when we were talking about MGS3?
Yeah, he might have asked who's Ocelot.
Ocelot. Ocelot is the guy who will make Val laugh if he sees that cutscene, which he probably has.
Wait, who will make Val laugh?
Ocelot, like just with the revolver bullshit.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know much about Metal Gear Solid 3 myself. I only know like that scene, the lady sometimes who's a gooner.
Yeah. Oh, they
What the
showed her.
fuck?
They showed her. So, you know, fans are happy.
Die! You have one hit left.
The
Oh my
supposed French
god.
guy or something. Oh. Just
Oh,
the
Just.
Belmont? Yeah.
It's Juste with an accent on it.
Yeah.
The Val run. Look at the Val run, Val. Where are you running to?
Whoa.
He saw, he stopped and then started creeping towards me because he saw me.
Ooh.
Have it your way.
Burger King?
Yep.
Damn.
It's even funnier without sound. I know, right? The fuck on my face, bitch.
We're missing one. It must be like one
Yeah,
of the
I'm wondering
middle
where it
ones.
is. Yeah. My bet is that it's closer towards the edge. I could be wrong. No. Edge. What? How nice though.
Time for
Edge.
Edge. Oh my god, it was almost time for Edge. Holy shit.
Hmm. Did something almost push you? All your
No.
friends are dead?
Copyright.
What? Oh, I can't talk to him. Fuck. Oh,
Oh, because I touched Grace. Damn.
yeah. Oh my god, this fucking bug is so annoying.
I don't understand how she hasn't fixed it.
Woo! Woo! What a scary attack. Bro, enough!
Oh, I think I found the one we missed. It was the middle one.
Which one, the middle one?
The one that you're next to. Because I see you.
Which one am I next to? I actually, you know, I haven't gotten the items around here, so maybe.
There it is.
Oh, I guess you didn't touch this one. Huh.
Nope, I ran past it and grabbed all the items around it. I assumed you would have
Yeah, I wasn't even
got
aware.
it, that's why. I should have
Yeah, I
checked
didn't
it.
see these items. I took an interesting path. I wish that this game had what Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom has, where it shows you your pathway on the map.
Yeah. I think
'Cause you could use that to just
Night
calculate
Ring
where you
does
are.
that. I think. Might be wrong.
Oh, that
though.
sounds fun.
I think they did add that. I just realized now Kay's name and
Yeah.
Elden Ring. Oh, in Elden
Yep.
Ring. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't change mine, but mine would have been squandered time. Right now I'm still boat of trash. I think I might have grabbed everything finally. Don't squander your time. Don't squander your time. Don't squander your time. Do you know the rules?
Don't squander your time. Do you
Sora.
know the rules? Why do they all say Sora or Roxas?
I don't know.
Like they all call their name, call his name, except for Zemnis. Oh,
No, he only does it once though.
you know, Zemnis doesn't do it. I bet you were so mad I was just waiting and not killing him.
Oh no.
No, I wasn't.
We were just
I was just-
laughing
I
because
was-
it was funny.
I was wondering, I was like, is he just gonna fuck it up on purpose? That would be hilarious.
We were both also shocked that he just wasn't attacking you.
I wasn't though, because he does that. He lost at that point. Oh, we have to
Oh.
body you again, old woman.
Oh yeah. Funny.
Funny how we're fighting her spirit. but it's not her spirit. We fought her spirit already.
I'm a villain.
Girl, can I please?
Girl, you can't do that. It was my turn. It's my turn. Don't squander your time now. You played the game quite well.
We played the game quite well.
Yeah, you don't like being whipped, do you? There we go. I hit her with a meaty R2. Just try to take my ass out, though.
Ooh! I didn't get hit a single time during that fight. That was cool.
Heads up!
Heads up.
up! Look what I saved for you! Oh, time for the reload!
When I first played those data fights, Val, I actually had a harder time on Axel than I did with Zigbar.
Yeah,
My first
Axel
ever
was
time.
cheap.
So annoying because his battlefield just does the fight for him, and it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kay, I was so happy to see Brig in BBS. Yay! Were you happy to fight against him with Aqua though? Because that fight is really bullshit. Because he just won't let you touch him.
Brave?
Yeah, Zigbar.
Oh. Oh, you fight him as Aqua? Oh god.
Yep, which means you only have to do one thing. Block! Block the fight because he likes to teleport and get infinite iframes from literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we missed that. Interesting.
Missed what?
Prince of Death's pustule.
Oh no, I grabbed that.
Well, it's time to fight. The real boss is...
The real
This is gonna be night ring. This is gonna be night ring practice.
Oh my god. There's no way we're killing them.
I think we can. I like how he just appeared, by the way.
Oh. Look what I saved for you.
I said, boy. I also never got this item. Okay.
New backdrop.
Right. First, we have to go after the drafted Scion. Is that thing got in the way?
It's over here. No.
Okay, wait. Let me just get in my attack. There we go. That's damage. Nice. Did you like how I targeted onto that thing and then it targeted the thing that was not even on camera? Fucking Elden Ring is so annoying.
Okay, I'm dealing with the ads. There we go.
Why can you do that to me? Where did you do this HP? Oh, blood loss. Okay.
Yep.
There's an item back here.
Dance, water,
Careful, there's an item back
dance.
here.
I don't like him.
He cool. I love his voice so much. He's got a cool voice.
The fucking sounds his gun makes.
Why is the ancient... Dude, why are you on top of one another?
I was gonna say that. Oh, he's spitting flames.
Oof.
Val, get to Kingdom
Oh my
Hearts
god,
3 already.
Please.
Please.
Creeping over me. No, don't. Take your
Oh
time.
my god, they're both on top of each other.
That's okay, I'm attacking this guy.
I gotta deal with the ads now. Camera.
Oh yes, get caught, get caught. No, he ran off.
I couldn't tell what he was doing. I knew it, punk ass. Ooh, I did a lot of damage.
Shit. Oh my god. No, not like this. Okay.
Uh-oh. Oh, just
I hate that
fall.
attack so much. Fall. Oh.
Oh, well, he's
Nice.
dead.
We killed our targets at the same time. Well, bravo to us. Oh wait, hang on a second. A victory ruiner right here. The second one right here. Nah, why must you do this? Bro, get down here. Where did it go?
I yeeted him out of existence on your
Where
screen.
did it go?
He's right here for me.
Oh my, oh wait. How close are you to being done with DDD? Now, I'm trying so hard, but I need to... Leveling up, like, every single Dream Eater is so hard.
Yeah.
It's so, like, imagine leveling up, like, every Pokemon to level 100, or at least level, like, 60. Like, period. Every single Pokemon in, like, Pokemon Sun or something.
But Kay will be angry face
Ugh.
if I do it before him. Oh yeah. Not
Yeah, I
really.
would be angry. I'd be like, why?
And then Val's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I leveled up my Dream Eaters just doing this," and you're just like, "What?"
Actually. Which I did look it up. I'm like, what's the best way to level them up? And I'm not following a particular guide, but I'm following multiple, and I'm just not finding anything. The best thing I got is just use the toys, and that's it. But even then, it's like,
DDD.
you
is
have to
the
just spend your
worst
money on
Kingdom Hearts
everything.
game.
Yeah. Alright, well, we did it. We humbled those guys.
Yes, we did.
We didn't get that many rooms like you. You were right. It's not even worth it, but it was okay.
At least they're dead.
One guy said to spam balloons and leave the minigame. Yeah, well, not balloons. You have to. Well, I mean, balloons also work, but because that gives you EXP, but you're not supposed to level them up that way. You're supposed to get LP, link points. And LP you can't get it by doing balloons, which sucks because that's my favorite game. You get it by doing the fucking water barrel and candy goggles one. Alright,
Yep.
well, just go somewhere. I don't know. Let's just go back to Liurnia. Oh. Yeah, I looked it up a bit. I saw there's an in-game trophy for leveling up affinity to max with everyone. Oh my god.
Yep.
The affinity thing, I don't even know. I guess that one is just balloons, like you said, yeah, but oh my god, there's so many Dream Eaters and none of like I only get maxed out maybe like 10 of them.
Yeah, it's real bad, that game.
It's hard. And I just get up on the game, grind a bit, and then I'm like, and I do it for like hours. And then I've only gotten like maybe 6 done. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then there's this stupid fucking mini game called Flick Rush, where you have to use like chain of memory combat mechanics as the mini game. Haha. And it's the same too, where the cards, like the card numbers, even and the abilities match up. Like, so one ability is linked to this number card or some shit, but it's randomized. You can't choose the number card. And you just have to play the bigger number against your opponent up until your opponent starts to like make the bigger number bigger at the last possible moment before contact, just to piss you off and counter and parry you, because this is like an amiibo AI. like in Smash Bros.
Yep.
Ugh, God. And then you need to get like to level 20 in the flick brush mode, and I think in order to get to level 20, you have to get like gold medals in all of it, which require you to do it perfectly, just about like every single round perfectly. And there's about like 30 rounds of this shit. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes.
It's just so much. And my friend was like, "Oh yeah, the things should be easy." No, they're not. It's
No.
terrible. Terrible.
The fact
I'm
that we
probably not gonna go for the in-game things.
the fact that we sat in VC all day that one time and you only did like 3 things is insane.
It's just like,
Like, why is that game so
oh my God.
tedious?
Oh, it's so annoying.
Meanwhile, Val is like, why do we come and BBS? I need to hear him complain.
At least do Birth by Sleep, not Recom. Recom is just a waste of time. That game is just a waste of time. But like 100%, it's just like, why? For what reason do I need to grind to level 99? It won't serve me any purpose. But BBS, I mean, level 50 is...
You would absolutely hate Recom. Oh, I know it. That's why I just avoid it like the plague. I just hate it.
And the atmosphere of that game doesn't help it either. Like, everything feels gray. You look at the game, you see colors, but you still see the color gray. And it's just because of the white rooms of Castle Oblivion, I
Yeah,
think.
too much white.
It just leaves an impression on you. A terrible one. Alright, well, let's do it, Roy.
We won't do it.
Oh well.
Rejection.
It's so bland. Yeah, this is me doing DDD right now. I give up.
Mario Death Sound True Val.
Yeah.
What the
But
fuck?
oh man. God, I need to see that Lethal Company clip from my point of view real quick. Hang on a second.
Which one? The dog one? What the
The dog,
dog
yeah.
doing?
Hang on
What
a
a
second.
dog.
Let me just before I end the stream, let me just look at that real quick. Let's see. That was at the end too, right?
Yeah.
That was towards the end? Okay. God, it's so stupid. So utterly stupid. Lethal Company reboot? Errors? Errors?
I haven't made the clips yet. Wow.
Me neither.
I mean, me too. I just went on the VOD and got the timestamps.
God, I hate the fact that this man-eater is so... Why is it programmed like this?
I don't know. It was Camping Val too. I don't know if you like watched
Why
it
can you...
on my POV, but
I
it just
saw,
camped
but
him.
why is the camp so damn hard?
Like Val would, I run out and I see Val like taking little baby steps, and this thing is just like fucking edge guarding the hallway.
Yeah, but like, why was it directly underneath me here? Why? You know what's so funny, Roy? I was looking at the wall there. I was looking at the door, and I was like, no one's opening it. And I was like, oh, it opened. It's only Roy who did that. It only could have been Roy.
Yeah, it was me. Cause I switched to you on the map. I was like, oh, Kay wants this door open. Let me open it. You know
Oh
what's
man.
fucked? I only left the facility for like 2 minutes and it still grew up while I was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
It's cause it was already past 6 p.m. Val.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I think I saw the baby first. Or maybe
Damn.
that was another one where I saw the baby first. But I kind of just left it in there. Also, these fucking bees.
I
The game was trying to kill me.
I hate that you can't just chuck them in the void.
Same.
And then you're dead. Yeah, the man eater.
And
I
it
think
just ran straight out. What?
the the man eater. I think Val is like similar to the barber because that one time Kay and I had to deal with the barber. Like he was cracked. He was winding up so fast because it was like
Yeah.
9 something p.m.
Oh yeah, that was last time we played before this one.
Yeah. I don't. Oh, I don't
Dude,
even think I
you can't even hear
posted that.
aggro from my end.
Wait, hang on, Val. Let me like post it in the group chat.
You can't even hear it aggro. It just starts running after me. And I'm on the left where 9 is, by the way, on my screen.
Of course.
Bro, what?
What the
And
fuck?
then there are 3 of them out there.
Why did YouTube sign me out?
Why were there 3?
Also,
That's what you get for picking up my corpse, LMAO, true.
the fucking that one clip of me just running past the mimic. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
how
that
he
was so
didn't
stupid.
grab me.
It just I need to show you my POV. I was like, oh my god, Roy's so fucking dead. And then I was like, wait, why is he still going? Where is it? I think it was way before this, right? Had to have been.
I mean,
This is not Titan. This has to be the one, right? Yeah. Oh yeah.
oh my god, yeah, the fucking coil head bullshit. Oh look,
No,
speaking of
1407.
dumpers, look, I found the clip of us just baiting the fuck out that one.
Oh yeah. And then I watched. Yeah, this is I went. Oh come on now, when 9 died to the fucking Bracken, because you were both looking at it,
Yeah,
like
oh,
Nine's looking directly at it,
yes.
but please look at Nine's body on the monitor here, because I think you're
I
the only
no,
one who
I
can see
did
it.
see it when I went back and looked at the VOD.
Like what the hell?
My point of view, I see it like it was just like clipping out of bounds and spinning.
It was really good.
I okay, that makes sense. Nine stared at him too long because I glanced at him and he made the noise like that he was fucking off, but I guess Nyan pissed him off. That Bracken was so annoying though. He really followed us throughout the entire facility.
Oh really?
Yes, he wouldn't piss
Yeah.
off. Wait, what was the clip I wanted to send to Val?
What would you say?
There was a well, not a clip, but like a
Oh, here it is.
timestamp that I wanted to send.
I was like, why did Roy run straight into it? Like, it's just so random.
Wait, let me open your stream. You were probably so dumbfounded. I mean, no one could have
I
been
was like,
even more
okay.
dumbfounded than me because I really just walked into him and I was like,
Yeah, he was just walking diagonally, like,
he wasn't in aggro mode. That's why he didn't have his arms out. But I was
Yeah, he
under the
wasn't.
assumption that if you just walk into them, they just grab you anyway.
Sometimes.
I guess he just didn't care. He
You
wasn't gonna.
actually did miss something here, by the way. When I asked you if you got everything, I saw your POV. You left one thing in there. I would have grabbed it, but I understand why you didn't.
Yeah. Uh, Twitch, are you gonna load K stream for me? Like the fuck? What? Val, what was I gonna show you? Or like send it in the chat? Oh, it was the barber thing. Okay, yeah, let me go back. Like, is it this one or this one? Fuck. Does it help that I have two? Fuck. Wait, did I send this shit twice? I did. Okay. The barber thing happened when Val wasn't there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that was the last stream before this one.
Yeah, so that's this one. Oh my god, the Nyan Mario. I can't get over that. Just fuck.
Oh yeah, yeah. You missed the. Oh wait, no. I think you showed Val right the 9 death.
Yeah. Oh my god. I forgot. Yeah, no, I found it. But I'm on the
Oh, I
VOD.
think Val might have missed this.
Damn, how early did the barber thing happen? This is the second half of the stream, so it's not this one.
I made sure you heard it this time though.
Okay, Twitch still didn't load like your stream for me. Short Twitch.
Oh shit! Should I just stream it through Discord?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Okay. So that's the start of that clip.
what the fuck?
I was the only one who died. Oh, it might have been because of the fucking mimic. Oh yeah, please look at this.
Oh yeah, I want to see how you died.
Please, because I didn't see anybody.
We just jumped that one.
Yeah. There was a second one.
I didn't even hear him or see him. I only knew about that one because he was following me. What? Wow, that's what happened to Val when they first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Like,
joined.
what the fuck is this? You don't see him on the map
Yeah, he's
anywhere.
not on the map and he's just dead.
And then he's just there.
Once I saw you die and then another one came out, I was like, yeah, no, we're just leaving.
Yeah.
Let me see. Where's the barber shit?
Okay. I'd
Oh,
like
is it
to see
here?
the this is it.
I am
This
dead
is
here.
the clutch round.
How do I die here?
The misfortune begins as soon as we kick out Nyan. Unfortunately, I still wish I didn't have to do that to him.
I know. But
We have to
it's
figure out what's
only
causing that.
him, and then we get just horrible desync. Is it here?
I also have to figure out what's going on with my game as to
Oh.
why I can't quit out of it.
Yeah, I don't know why that happens to you, because I close it out just fine.
I can show you at the end of my stream me closing out, and it's like nothing's happening. It might be because of the moons, but I could be
Oh,
wrong.
yeah, I found it, Val.
Ooh.
At least, like, part of it.
Oh wait, I guess